Hey, look at you.
All right. So, I gotta keep you all compliant
Yes.
because I don't want anybody going to real estate jail. So the whole purpose of this is to get you so that you are. I will help you with this. Please stand by. All right. Okay. Anyway, here we are. Maria knows me because I used to train back in the day when we used to work in the
Exactly why I came in today.
same office today. So Maria comes in to see if I've improved in my training. Okay. The roadmap that I gave you a copy of, and that's on the screen, is the same guide, whether you're doing a listing or whether you're doing a buyer contract. It just, there's a few more steps on the listing side, but it takes you to the same place. But we're gonna start with listings first. It all starts with your client, and it all starts with adding your client to command. Anybody that you're working with, anybody that's a potential buyer or seller should be in command. And Amanda covered that on database day and adding smart plans to your clients. And we're gonna have a really great course in February that's gonna go in deeper with smart plans and in command. So I'm not here for that today, but that's where it starts. Once you've got that client in command, now the opportunity begins. And the opportunity is whether it's a listing or whether you're going to rewriting an offer. The idea is you need to put as many details as you can into that opportunity. If it's a listing, the address, the location, the town, the commission, the price, the whole bit. Then you're going to start a transaction and you're going to tell it whether it's a residential or commercial on the checklist. And then DocuSign is gonna bring in everything you need. Now, I know Janine does a different step. Janine starts her listings in the in New Jersey MLS, fills out everything there, and then brings those pages into DocuSign, which is fine. Because then when your listing is live, you don't have to go back in and retype your listing into the MLS to make it live. It's already done there. Now that you've got all your transactions in DocuSign, you're going to complete them all. You're going to make sure that every document that you need is there. And then when they're all filled out and you've looked it all over, now you're going to send them out for signature. We need you to send them out to the client first, to you, the agent, second, and to me, the broker, last. This way, when I'm responsible for making sure everybody's in compliance, now I can see that everybody has signed the appropriate, in the appropriate spaces, that no signatures are missing. So it's very important to make the broker last. Now, all the documents are signed in DocuSign, but they're not in your opportunity. You've got to go into your opportunity back in command and add the documents, and it's going to ask you where you want to add them. Are they on your computer? And you're going to select DocuSign, and it's going to magically bring in the documents into your opportunity in command. That's where Janine and I check to make sure that your listings, all your paperwork is there. I know most of it's there because I've already signed it on the listing side, but we still have to go in and check the compliance. I've been doing this a long time. So back in the day when I was an agent, every real estate office had rows and rows of file cabinets. And every file cabinet, there was an active drawer, there was an under contract drawer. The listings were on the top drawer. When the listing went into attorney review, it went to the middle drawer. All of the paperwork for that listing was in that legal size file folder. I want you to think of your opportunity in command as your filing cabinet. We don't have do you see any files around here? There's no filing cabinets here. All of the files, so that if Jess needs to find something in there when it's closing time, it's in your opportunity in command. You've got to train yourself to think that the opportunity in command is my virtual filing cabinet. And everything for that transaction should be in there. The best way to do it is to add it as you go. We've got some agents that don't put anything into the opportunity until it's 3 weeks before closing. Now they're looking back through all of their emails, trying to find, we're out of attorney review email, trying to find the mortgage commitment, if you took the time along the roadmap and you stopped at each little intersection and uploaded the documents as you go, when you create that commission statement and send it off to the title company for closing, now when the check comes in and you ring that bell, just knows that everything is in there to pay you. No one's sending you an email. We can't cut you a check because this is missing, that's missing. Put it in the filing cabinet as you go. You need the CO, you need the attorney review out of there. You need the letters that you need to upload your certificate of occupancy. You could upload the home inspection. You should have in there the attorney review signing off on the home inspection issues. Put it all in there for 2 reasons. Because it's all there, number one. Number two, you don't want to be called out, or if there's a problem and this transaction is heading down south, you don't want to have to now scurry to find the email, find this letter, find that. It's all in one place so that we all have it in one location. When you do your CO, that's when you're going to send your transaction for compliance so that we can sign off on it in the office, and it's basically you're clear to close. Just like the mortgage company gives a clear to close, when all of your stuff is in compliance and Janine or I have accepted it, that's saying that your file in this office is clear to close. Everything is there. Now let's talk about a buy side. Same kind of opportunity. You're gonna put the client in command, you're gonna create the opportunity, you're gonna put all the paperwork in there, and now you're gonna bring in the paperwork for the contract. And you're gonna send it out, you're gonna do that AFBA letter along with everything else. You're gonna have them sign the wire fraud so they're aware of it and get all of that, your CIS, if it's dual agency, if it's a listing in this office. If it's not your listing, obviously, if it is your listing, you are a dual agent. But if you're putting an offer in on a property that's listed by Keller Williams Parkview, we're dual agents.
Just Parkview, not the other one.
Not the other office. It's just this office. So, and I sign off on things and I'm responsible for all of the listings. So that does make you a dual agent, even if it's not your listing. You get all of that into Command, into DocuSign, you send it out for signature, it comes back. You're sending it to the listing agent with your offer, with your pre-qual, the whole 9 yards. Wonderful. You get an accepted offer. You gotta get and bring in the fully executed contract. Every Monday morning, I check the MLS to see what our status is, how many active listings the office has, how many in the last 7 days went into attorney review, how many listings in the last 7 days went under contract. Now I go into Command to check compliance. The only documents in some instance, there's no opportunity created. In some instances, the only place I can find any documents for that under contract is in DocuSign. And the only thing in DocuSign is the contract signed by the buyers. Yes, ma'am.
Amanda had said to make sure that the file is active in Command so that you guys can see it.
Yeah, and we see them, but having the contract only signed by you and the buyers in DocuSign does us no good. It's not a fully executed contract. So as soon as you get that contract back from the listing agent, they're gonna email it to you. Download that contract onto your laptop, upload it into Command. Upload the copy of the attorney review letter. Upload the AFBA that's signed. Move everything from DocuSign. DocuSign is not your file cabinet. DocuSign is just a vehicle to get documents signed electronically. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with the office and your transactions being compliant. It's just the easy way to get things signed. Look, back in the day, we made 6 copies of a contract on legal size paper. The buyers came in the office, we gave them pens, start signing. And they went signed 6 copies of a contract because everybody had to have original signatures. Now we have DocuSign. Very rarely do you have to go and get a contract physically signed. So, like I said, the issues that I'm seeing on the buy side is that there's very few opportunities created. Some of the agents like to wait until, I know some of them wait until they're out of attorney review. They wait until the home inspection before they upload things, so in case a deal falls apart. But when I'm looking at them under contract in the MLS, they've gotten out of attorney review. They've probably had their home inspection or are having their home inspection. So we're well on the way to that closing. We need to get that stuff into Command. BCP checks all of our files for the AFBA letter, the affiliated business partners. They look for that. So it's just, please make sure that you've got that there. If you have a listing for a rental, and that listing was built before 1978, not only do you have to ensure that you have the lead paint signed, you have to ensure that you have the lead paint inspection law signed. The last thing you want is to have the landlord say 2 weeks before the tenant's gonna move in, you never told me. I didn't know I had to get a lead paint inspection. It has to be signed. If you've got a rental and you have to fill out that lead paint form, you have to make sure that you've got that lead paint inspection law signed as well. So that the landlord has been put on notice, you've got to do this. You can give them the list of the things, it changes. I know the list is there to bring down with the lead paint. Some of those requirements by town have changed. Before, when they first came out, everybody was just doing visual. A month, 2 months into it, they've all changed from visual to physical inspection and the wet swipes. So as soon as that listing is live, your landlord should be contacting the building department in their town and get the steps made to get the apartment inspected for lead paint, so that it's a check mark is off their list. Let's see, we got that. Rentals, again. Hudson MLS hates us. If you've got a rental, you need to have the picture of the front of the house, the apartment building, I don't care what it is. You gotta have a picture of the front of it for the Hudson MLS. If you don't, a fine is coming. The same thing that if you don't upload the lead paint right away, Hudson's there. You have to take a picture of the front of the rental, even if it's a second story. MLS, our prime MLS, I know this is hard to figure out. Our prime MLS is the New Jersey MLS. If there's a listing in Bergen, Passaic, all of Essex County, and Kearney, Harrison, and East Newark. If you get a listing in any of those other counties and you put it in you elect to put it in Garden State, it has to be in the New Jersey MLS. No ifs, ands, or buts. You can't get around it. I understand. I get it. I've heard it on the phone. Joyce, I've got a listing in Irvington. Nobody looks in New Jersey MLS for a property in Irvington. They're looking in the Garden State. I get it. No argument from me. But the MLS says Bergen, Passaic, Essex, and those 3 towns in Hudson County. If you've got a listing there, it has to be in the New Jersey MLS. Doesn't have to be in Garden State, but you can't just put it in Garden State. It has to be in both. Otherwise, the fines are coming. When you A-RIP a property, the date that you A-RIP that property is the date that the buyer and the seller have the signed contract and it went to the attorney, not the date that the attorney review letter comes in from the attorney. It's when it goes there. If you do anything else, there could be a late ARIP fine. Don't ask me how the MLS knows, but they know because the fine comes. So that's another thing to watch. And then as soon as you're out of attorney review, put it under contract. You can always take it back if it falls apart. You have to get those things logged when they're in. Waiver of broker cooperation. There's 2 kinds. And there's 2 different forms. And I've had agents send me one form that said, we're not putting it in the MLS, but we're cooperating with outside brokers. When in fact, they weren't cooperating with outside brokers. But it goes on the MLS in a different way. So make sure when you pull that form, you're taking the right one. Just the one just keeps it out of the MLS, but says that if ERA Justin calls you, you're going to let him show the property. The other one says nobody outside of this office is showing that property. If you waive broker cooperation and the seller signs off on that form, there is no advertising whatsoever if you're not cooperating with any other office. That means no yard sign. It means no posting on Facebook. It means no posting on Instagram. Nothing. There's to be no advertising of that listing whatsoever. If you do, you're in violation of the New Jersey MLS Clear Cooperation Agreement, which is also part of your code of ethics with NOR. The New Jersey MLS is a hefty fine. I know some agents don't think it's hefty enough, but you will get fined $250 to $500 if you violate that. If they take it to a complaint on the real estate commission that you didn't cooperate and you violated your code of ethics, then that fine gets really hefty. So just be aware. If you have a delayed showing and you filled out the form that says no showings until this date, that means everybody can't show it. That's not just for the outside world, and Keller Williams Parkview and the listing agent can show it for the 3 or 4 days before the public showing. Nobody can show it on delayed showings. We got. I don't want you guys in jail. So we're trying to do our fines. Does anybody have any questions about command, about
How many MLSs we are members of?
we are members of, I never knew that there were so many. I had to sign paperwork for New Jersey MLS, Garden State MLS, Hudson MLS, Central Jersey MLS, Monmouth MLS, Wright MLS, and I think I might have. I don't know about Middlesex. I don't think.
Middlesex.
No, Middlesex is CJ now.
Oh, okay.
It used to be, yeah, it used to be Middlesex MLS, but Middlesex is now CJ. So those are all of the MLSs.
Thank you.
Garden State doesn't seem to get as picky about yet. You know, they don't say, oh, you've got a listing in Cedar Grove in Essex County and you didn't put it in the Garden State MLS. They haven't gotten to that stage yet. It's just New Jersey MLS. Anything else?
For the broker cooperation, I know you said you can't post it anywhere, what about like you have an email list of buyers? Can you send it out that way?
You can tell your buyer that you have a new listing because they're in your database and you're searching listings for them. You just can't. Now that's only if you're not cooperating. If you've just taken an office exclusive, maybe you've got an elderly seller who didn't want 1,000 people seeing the house was for sale. So you put it in as an office exclusive, but you're going to cooperate with the outside world, then you can market it. But if you've said, I'm not cooperating with anybody, you can call your buyer pool. Absolutely, that's no different. It's a new opportunity for them.
But like, what if, so I tag my buyers, so what if I have like maybe 5 or 6 buyers, can I blast them with email?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can blast an email to your contacts. And they should all be tagged. They should be tagged for style of house, town they're looking in. You've got the opportunity in command to make it your own and create as many tags as you want, depending upon what your clients are looking for. And when Ira comes in on February 7th, he's gonna do some more tags. He's gonna do some smart plans, but what he's gonna show you is how he is using command to market on Facebook, so that the leads that come in for a listing of his go right into command. And then you can add the tags and start marketing to them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
About the waiver broker corporation, when we sign the waiver, we are waiving the corporation for the other companies, right? Or.
You're waiving broker cooperation.
It's from.
Well, there's
Yeah.
two that you're waiving it being on the MLS will cooperate. That's saying, so the listing doesn't go in the MLS,
Okay.
but yet you have do you all know how to look for office exclusives on the MLS? If you go to New Jersey MLS and you take you search for listings, there's the reports. And if you look down on the reports, there's office exclusives.
Yeah.
And if you click on that, and you click on the month of December, well, now you click on the month of January, it'll list by day, by town and price, the different listings that have come on the market. And whether they will cooperate, will not cooperate. So if you can't find a listing for your buyer in the MLS that's active, I would go look at the office exclusives. If it's an office exclusive where they're gonna cooperate, then you can contact that listing office and the listing agent and get an appointment to show it.
Okay. Alright. I think I did already, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty good about it.
Yeah.
They are pretty good about it.
I don't remember.
When we had a situation, and Mike just left because it involved him, but an agent was doing an open house at a new listing. Buyer came through the open house, Mike was doing the open house with her, and she said, "Are you working with anybody?" Kind of they danced around that question, but they filled in the register. Mike qualified them, they couldn't qualify. And another bank couldn't qualify them. And then all of a sudden, the agent gets a phone call from another agent wanting to make an appointment to show, makes the appointment, the buyer's agent canceled the appointment and then proceeded to submit an offer from the person that was through the open house. So when you're doing your open house, you really need to say, are you working with somebody? Give them their name. They should, if they're working with somebody, they should know their agent's name.
You know how many times they say, "Oh, what's the name?" And they
Yeah.
fumble and how can't you remember? That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And down in this neck of the woods, it's very difficult to get the exclusive buyer agency agreement signed. That will protect you if they sign the exclusive buyer agency agreement. But the one thing that you need to have, and it's a requirement by law, is your CIS statement. That has to be signed at the first meaningful meeting that you have with that customer. Obviously, you're on the phone, but you're having meaningful dialogue. But then when first time you go to show them something, you need to disclose the working relationship so they understand. They need to sign the CIS statement. It's just a little proof if you ever had to go to arbitration about procuring cause. If you have that CIS statement signed, it gives you a little cushion. Obviously, the buyer agency agreement is better, but I don't know how many of you have success getting buyer agencies signed.
Depends on how you need them.
As it
Depends on how you need them.
Yeah, I mean, you really just need to, look, when I was doing this, the first time I was out, I gave him a stack of business cards. And I said, look, obviously I can't go to every open house with every buyer that I had. Hand my business card in when you go in. This way, yes. Are you working with somebody? Here you go. And if I knew that they wanted to go to that open house, I was calling that listing agent Friday and say, look, I'm doing my own open house. My buyers are but I'm sending my buyers to your open house. I have my business card. Please honor that. So you put them on notice. It's better, and even if you think they might show up, call.
I've even shown other agents my listing, and they put offers on it, there was no buyer's agent there. But if you don't get them in the door, you're not getting the deal done.
Sometimes we have to be flexible.
So whether they come to your open house or make an appointment, because the agent can't accommodate, you do it.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody works that way, but it's better to, a little kindness goes a long way. You know, somebody's stuck in traffic, somebody's got a doctor's, their kid got sick or whatever, you understand.
Send them anyway.
Yeah, and you know, then you do you. But the more you are, the more conscientious you are about your paperwork and getting it into your virtual filing cabinet, the better off you'll be. There are agents, when you get multiple offers, did you know that there's a way that in command that it will assess the multiple offers? I get it, it takes time, but you can go in and put offer one and the agent and the offer price and whether it's how much of it's down, if it's an FHA, if it's a conventional, if it's cash. And you could do that all in the opportunity. And then it will come out and spit out a comparison for you to go and sit down with your seller and say, this is what we've got. Or email your seller and say, this is what we've got. Because technically, and I go back in the day when we had big files, you're required to hold those other offers that you receive. You're supposed to be with that file. You have to keep your backup offers. So command is another way not to get bogged down. You can put them into the opportunity as the other offers, and then you just tell it which offer they accepted. But at least then you've got all the documentation. Because how many times have you had a transaction where you've gone to you've had to go to option number 2? You know, the buyers got crazy in attorney review, the buyers got crazy in home inspection, seller canceled the deal. Okay, we'll go to backup number 1.
That even applies to rentals, that's happened to me.
But by law, you have to keep all the offers that come in. And there are agents that are still asking that when there's multiple offers, that your seller initial that they store their offer. So you have to keep all of that together. The more you keep together, the better off it's going to be in the long run. Anything else? You're such a quiet group, and there was nobody on the line. Oh, wait. I didn't know, Osama. Did he come in? Is he here? I guess he is. Tony's here. So that, in a nutshell, is what you got. Any questions? Did y'all know about putting those multiple offers into command?
So I just learned something that you can put all your offers in opportunity.
Mhm.
And,
I think if I can, let me look. Hi, Hava. So this is mine. And I'm gonna search. So when you come from one office to another, obviously things are not always the same. So what I was fortunate for is this, if I could spell her name right. There she is. It's spinning. So this dear lady, she was in her 80s. I had been renting her apartment forever. And all of a sudden, when I was working up in Tenafly and KW up there, she calls me and says, it's time to go. Creating an opportunity and taking that listing from listing to closing so that I understand